Geeks with Beards. Podcast.
From a doomed planet in a distant galaxy to a fantastic underground hideaway, from the fortress of solitude to the bustling city room of the Daily Planet. Look, up on the screen. It's Superman. Superman, the movie.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Geeks with Beards podcast. The month of action is over with, but it ain't stopping us from bringing you action-packed episodes of comic books, man. But that was a great collaboration that we had with all those other podcasts last month, man. It was awesome.
It was. It really was.
I loved it. And if we're still in the game next year, we've been invited again next year, so can't wait to do that again, you know. So that'll be awesome.
Heck yeah.
But on today's episode, we are going to cover John Byrne's 1986 The Man of Steel miniseries, but we're going to cover a specific issue. The Man of Steel is number 5, and it's going to be his introduction of Bizarro. But before we get into that, Sean, what's been going on, man, since the last episode?
We just got back from Nashville. Had a good
dude.
show there, and let's see, I went to a friend's house and we watched a couple old sci-fi movies.
Oh, sweet. Just straight up sci-fi, horror, or?
Just straight sci-fi.
Okay.
One was like Earth versus Flying Saucers, or
Oh, wow, okay.
and the other one is almost like a Godzilla ripoff. I can't remember the name of that one, but
Okay.
it's pretty good. I think that's about all I've been into besides getting ready for some more shows. What about you?
Let's see. Read a lot of comic books. Let's see. I'm trying to think real quick. A couple I want to talk about real fast. Read the newest issue of Transformers, and it's just continuing. Megatron showing back up. Optimus is armless, and he's slowly dying because ever since he had Megatron's arm on there, it infected his body, and it disconnected him kind of from the Matrix. So he's not been able to like recharge himself or whatever. So he's slowly dying, and Spike, the human that everybody knows from Transformers lore, he puts his one arm into the Matrix and touches Prime's hand with his other arm, and I guess he's supposed to be like a conduit to slowly charge Optimus, but it wasn't doing much good in the issue. It didn't seem like it was doing much good. And then the other little story had to do with Ultra Magnus, where I believe I spoke about it in a previous issue, where the United States government, basically G.I. Joe, had captured him. And they were going to do experiments on him. Well, one of the G.I. Joe members, his name is Doc. He's a medic. A lot of G.I. Joe fans will know who I'm talking about.
Marty.
Kind of. He was kind of feeling, I don't want to say sorry, but he understood why Magnus was the way he was because, you know, where Shockwave had tortured him for all those years. So Doc releases him because basically Joes are kind of torturing him, I guess, to get information out of him. So Doc releases him, and he's like, "Why did you release me?" And he's like, "Look, I've seen things in war like you have. I know what you're going through mentally." And he said, "Well, how did you get through it?" He said, "You have to find a purpose. You have to find something or someone that you care enough about to, you know, to give you a purpose to keep going." He said, "Do you have that?" And Magnus kind of looks off and he's like, "Yeah." And he transforms and drives away. I'm guessing he's going to go back and try to help Prime and him fight Megatron is what I'm thinking. So yeah, that was great. And then I dipped my toe back into Superman comic books with Superman Unlimited. It's a new comic. They're only 3 issues into the series right now. It's written by Dan Slott. Forgive me on the artist. I forgot to write the name down of the artist, but it's really good artwork. And basically, spoilers, it's kind of a jumping on point for any new reader because the first few pages of the book is a retelling of the past several decades of Superman history. Like it shows his death and rebirth, marrying Lois, having Jonathan as a son, arriving on Earth as a child to the kids and stuff like that. And basically, he's going around doing Superman things. He's saving animals out of trees and rescuing people, saves a little kid from a lion in a zoo. And then the Justice League column's like, hey, there's this big, like, meteoroid that's getting ready to crash into Earth, and we can't stop it. You need to come stop it. So he flies up into space, and they mention a metal, I forgot what it's called. It starts with an I, but I forgot what it was called now. Intuit metal or something. And so he punches it, but he discovers that only the outer crust, the outer layer is that metal. And underneath it, the whole meteoroid is like a huge chunk of kryptonite. So he knows it's going to kill him, but he's got to stop it from hitting the Earth because it's going to crash land like in South America. So he touches it, and you can see the green veins going through his body and his face and everything. And he starts having flashbacks of his life. He's basically admitted that he's going to pass away from this, and he's going, kind of just seeing his life. And he starts saying goodbye to Jonathan, and he tells him, he's like, look, tell your mom I love her. I love you. I love everybody. And he crashes to Earth in the ocean underneath the big chunk of kryptonite. Jump ahead 3 months. He wakes up. He's on the JLA watchtower. He's okay. He's like, what happened? Everybody says, thank goodness, you're alive, you're awake. And he goes and talks to the other Justice League members, and you see, Supergirl and Connor Kent, Superboy, got the 90s, his outfit and everything on, and they're all beat up. And he's like, what happened to you guys? And Connor tells him, he's like, look, this world's changed in 3 months. He says all the criminals, inner gang, all of them, they've got availability to kryptonite. And Superman kind of just looks and grins like, we'll just have to work harder. We'll have to work harder. And Connor looks at him and looks at Batman. He's like, you didn't tell him anything, did you? Batman tells Superman to look down to Earth with his telescopic vision. And he sees, this city. And it's basically it rose up in 3 months' time to be one of the most wealthiest cities in the world because it is the main supplier of basically the new, cash crop kryptonite to the world. And Batman's explaining it to him, everything like that. And when he tells Connor about, hey, we'll just have to work a little harder and just be more vigilant, be more careful. And he's like, well, easy for you to say. And Superman's like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't tell him that part either, did you? And Batman snaps his fingers and like an infrared light or whatever comes on Superman, and he's glowing gold. And then it ends. So he basically says to Clark, before it ends, he looks at him, he's like, you should have died under that mountain of kryptonite, but instead, you're glowing. So I haven't read anything else. I'm going to get to issues 2 and 3 this week in my comic book delivery. And I'm guessing, I'm not read anything to spoil myself, Superman's got a new ability. I don't know if it's invulnerability, or excuse me. Yeah, if it's immunity to kryptonite now or what. I don't know. But when the main light went off and like that infrared light come on him, he was glowing gold. So I don't know. Hey, Superman's got a new power now, apparently, thanks to kryptonite. So I'm going to see where it goes. It seems pretty good. And I like Dan Slott's writing. I remember him writing, was it Spider-Man? Yeah. I think it was.
He wrote some good Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think I collected some Spider-Man back in the day when he wrote it, and I remember liking it a lot. So
yeah.
I don't know how long he's going to stay on. Like I said, it's just issue 1. There are only 3 issues in, so it may not even run along. I don't know right now how many issues it'll go. And then, real quick, I guessed it again on Give Me Back My Action Horror Movies last week. We did a Japanese horror movie based on a manga called Uzumaki, and it was a live action adaptation movie. And basically, Uzumaki translates into spiral. And it's just a little town. They just released the episode, so I can talk on it. Basically, this little town is cursed by this spiral, and it just kind of drives people mad after a while, and they end up either becoming giant snails or basically kind of killing themselves. So it's more into it than how I'm saying. I'm just giving you a real quick synopsis of it. But it was fun. I had a lot of fun, and it was a fun experience. First time I ever watched that movie. Might go back and read the manga one of these days. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I was doing the past couple of weeks.
That's pretty cool.
I can't help it if I had to go to the...
You are Superman, aren't you?
Lois, look, we've been through these hallucinations of yours before. Can't you see what you almost did? Throwing yourself off a building 30 stories high. Can't you see what a tragic mistake you almost made?
I made a mistake. I made a mistake because I risked my life instead of yours. yours.
Lois, don't be insane.
And don't fall down, because you're just going to have to get up again.
Lois, now don't be crazy now. What?
It is you. I guess I've known this for the longest time.
You realize, of course, if you'd been wrong, Clark Kent would have been killed.
With a blank? Gotcha.
So yeah, we'll jump right into it. The Man of Steel #5 from 1986, written by John Byrne, art by John Byrne, and the inker Giordano, I think is how I pronounce the last name.
That's as good as guess as
That's
we're
the
gonna
best
get.
I'm going to get with it, man. Yeah. So yeah, we open up in Lex Luthor's apartment, and Superman is holding. To me, as an '80s kid, to me it looked like his Superpowers toy. It looked like that kryptonite suit he wore in the Superpowers toy line.
It does.
And so Superman's holding the suit, of course there's a guy in the suit, but he's holding it, and he's confronting Lex, and he's like, Lex, you're getting sloppy. He says, you're getting sloppy and blatant. And he says, I know this package will come from you. And he says, Lex looks at him, he's like, if you actually paid attention, he says, all the components that make up that suit that you're holding on to right now was reported stolen. And the guy in the suit, we fired him not long ago. So clearly he's a disgruntled employee trying to smear my name. I'm like, you damn liar. Like, no, he ain't. And real quick on this, and we'll get more into Byrne at the end of the episode, but I like and I don't remember before this in the Crisis, but after the Crisis, he made Lex the rich mogul, and everything like that, And I like he's giving that, he's balding, but he's still got some red hair. And he's a little chubby.
What I remember, like, during his run in Supergirl at that time, he looked really good. He looked
did.
like, like
He looked like a
Bruce Wayne or something,
Yeah.
just redheaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the long hair. But this, he looks shorter, fatter, and has that weird hairstyle.
Yeah, see, because, previously when we read our first episode, when we covered the death of Superman, in that one, he was younger, had the long flowing red hair, had a beard. Mm-hmm. Was that a clone? I think, maybe?
Yeah, I think we discussed it in that
Okay, I think it
episode.
might have been a clone, yeah. I guess this one is the legit Luthor, I suppose.
Or was Supergirl the clone? No, we'll have to go back and listen to our first episode.
Oh, she was, because this is post-Crisis, when John Byrne was assigned to reboot Superman's origin, and he wiped everybody out. He killed off the Superboy, which Supergirl died in Crisis.
Yeah.
So he wiped her out, but eventually she would show back up in post-Crisis, but she would show up as like a clone at Maximus or Maxima or something like that, I think it was. Or Matrix. Hell, I forget now. I forget what it was.
So much history.
So much history, man. Like almost 90 years. But, so Lex is basically just, bullshitting Superman. He's like, stuff's stolen. Dude, we fired. He's disgruntled. I can't believe you're up here, running my name through the mud saying I'm trying to attack you. He's like, you have no proof of that. You just need to leave my apartment. And, which Superman does. He does leave, but on his way out, he says, he tells Lex, like, one day, I'm sorry, let me skip that real quick. There was an important part. Lex tells him about the guy in the suit, that they were some experimental stuff that they had actually worked with NASA on, and that if the person in the suit stayed in there longer than an hour, the psionic controls interface became unstable and basically would turn whoever wore the suit into a vegetable.
Yeah.
Because Superman's like, well, I'll just wait till this guy wakes up and I'll get some evidence on you. And Lex is like, sorry, no. He's pretty much just like, which is basically what Byrne writes that's coming out of Lex's mouth. Like he's just going, he'll be a vegetable. You won't be able to get anything from him. So Superman leaves, and before he leaves, because he's going to take the guy to the hospital, before he leaves, he's like, you know what, Lex? He said, I'll leave right now. But basically he tells him one day, he said, you will answer for all the crimes that you've committed and all the people that you've hurt in the process. And Superman flies away. And he's like, I'll nail you. He's like, I'll get you for these crimes. Eventually you'll slip up. So Superman leaves, and Lex goes to a little secret lab that he's got in his apartment. And in this laboratory, there is a Chinese professor or scientist. His name is Dr. Tang. And there's all kinds of equipment everywhere. And there's like this big, almost like coffin-looking thing in the middle of the room. And Luthor goes up to him and asks him, he said, did it work? And I like at the bottom of the panel in the little box, it says, translated from Chinese, or the Chinese. I'm like, why did you have to say the Chinese, John? I was like, okay. So Lex is talking Chinese to Dr. Tang. And he asked him, he said, did it work? And Dr. Tang, he said, oh yeah. He said, while Superman was in your office, he said that, we scanned his whole body and got all the, information that we needed, the DNA information that we needed, and it got fed into the Matrix. And, so Dr. Tang tells him, he's like, look, he said, but I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. And Luthor's like, what do you mean you don't know how it's going to turn out? He's like, you remember when we, thought Superman was just human with these special powers? I find out he's not human. And Lex is like, well, wait, what do you mean he's not human? What are you trying to tell me? And Dr. Tang basically is like, well, think about it. And Lex is like, you mean he's an alien? He's like, oh, he said, that explains everything. The powers. He said, so Superman is an alien. He's like, oh. He's like, so what are you saying? He's like, how did that affect the cloning process? And Dr. Tang's like, well, I don't know. He said, I really don't know. He said, because we made the equipment and focused on the scans based on us thinking he's human, but him being alien, he said it could have messed up the cloning process. So, he pops open the Matrix chamber, and apparently this is something that Lex refers to as Project Changeling. Now, it's not mentioned again that I remember in any of this 6-part stuff, and that may have happened in the ongoing Superman comic that come on after this one that Byrne wrote for a little while. I don't know. So Tang opens up the Matrix chamber, and inside is a exact duplicate of Superman. Just it's head to toe, looks just like Superman. And Lex is happy. Lex is like, oh, he's like, looks just like him. He said, I think it worked great. And, but Lex gets close to the Matrix chamber and the clone falls out. Just boom, falls out on the floor. And Lex is like, what the hell? He's like, what happened? And Dr. Tang says, well, apparently the biomatrix is rejecting the alien DNA from Superman. And he says, look at the clone. He's like, it's starting to crystallize. He's like, its skin is crystallizing on us. Of course, Lex is he's pissed off. He's like, well, this is not the plan. He said, my plan was to clone Superman, so I would have my own Superman with exact same powers, same abilities. He said, but the only difference was, he said, it would take orders from me. He said, I would have my own personal Superman to do with whatever I wanted, which basically he would have used him to smear Superman's name, make him a criminal, make people hate Superman.
Yeah.
It's what I took from that. He says, but I can't do anything with this. He's basically saying, oh, this is just garbage. This is just a petri dish of crap. I can't do nothing with it. So he tells Dr. Tang, he's like, get rid of it before somebody sees it. He says, get rid of this bizarre, and then he gets cut off. And, so we cut to Lois Lane, and she's visiting her sister Lucy in her apartment, and Lucy's blind. And we find out later in the issue that she was blinded about a year ago, by a character called Hijacker. I do not know this character. I don't know if you're familiar with him out of Superman lore or not.
No.
Apparently, and it doesn't really explain what exactly happened, but at some point, he had threw some kind of chemicals in Lucy's face, causing her to go blind. Don't know why. Again, it may be explained later on. I don't know. And so she's visiting Lucy, just check, make sure she's okay. And Lucy's like, yeah. She's like, I'm fine. And she's telling Lucy, like, Lucy, you're wearing your sunglasses inside. You don't have to do that. And Lucy's like, look, she said, I've seen enough blind people before. She said, people make fun of them because of their eyes and stuff like that. She's like, Lucy, your eyes are fine. They look normal. She said, nobody's going to make fun of you. She said, take the glasses off. You don't have to wear the sunglasses. So she does. She takes them off just to kind of keep Lois quiet, I guess. And so Lois is going to leave. She's going to go back to the Daily Planet. And she says, are you sure you'll be okay? She's like, I'll stay. I'll cancel going to work and I'll just stay with you. And she said, no, Lois, I'm fine. Just go on to work. So Lois leaves her. And then we see that there's an ambulance that is rushing to the hospital. And it ends up getting a flat tire and stuck in traffic. And the paramedic's like, oh my God, it's like, what are we going to do? We got to get to the hospital. Well, you see Superman, in quotations, I should say, swoop down, picks up the ambulance and flies it to the hospital. Doesn't say a word, doesn't say anything. The paramedic gets out of the ambulance, turns around and says, oh, thank goodness, Superman. Wait a minute, you're not Superman. He's like, you're some kind of monster. And then flies away. Superman flies away. And it's cool how John drew this. You only see him from the back.
Yeah.
You don't see him from the front yet. You only see him from the back.
It's a good build-up.
It is, yeah. So he flies away. And then we cut back to Lucy's apartment. And she's sitting out on the balcony of her apartment. And she's pretty super depressed. She is going through her mind. She's like, what am I going to do with my life? She said, I used to be a flight attendant. And she's like, I can't do that now, blind. She's like, what use am I? She jumps off her balcony. She tries to commit suicide.
Which startled me. This is like the first time I've seen, this is the earliest example I've seen of Superman saving somebody from suicide.
Yeah. So she jumps off her balcony. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
Well, I remember reading in All-Star Superman, and it was like treated as a much more serious deal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this threw me for a loop. I'm like, whoa.
It did me too. I'm like, all right, John, you're going to throw us in there. So, and I mean, it is a serious moment, but it's a brief one.
Yeah.
So she jumps off her balcony in a suicide attempt, and Superman, Bizarro, I'll go ahead and just call him that, swoops in and saves her life. And she's like, whoa. She's like, Superman. She's like, is that you? Doesn't say a word. She's like, oh. She's like, I've always heard about you swooping in and saving people's lives. She's like, but I never thought it would ever happen to me. And she's like, thank you so much. And then he flies away. Mm. And she's like, well, that's odd. He didn't say anything to me. But she's like, he's covered in dust. He's so dusty. What's all that about? And which will play later in the comic book. So then we cut to the Daily Planet in the newsroom. And Clark is there with Jimmy. And they're talking. And Lois shows up and, has her little remark toward Clark and stuff like that. Calls him like, what did she say? Minimum wage or something. She says something like that. How's your day going? Low wage payers or something like that. And Clark's like, well, it'd be a lot better if you quit coming in and saying stuff like that every day, And I like to, this happened in I think it was the first issue, how Clark's appearance in this version, and I don't remember any earlier versions, in this version, when he's Clark, besides the glasses, of course, he actually slicks his hair back.
Yeah. To
where Superman is just his normal hairdo with the S loop on the front like that. I was like, okay, so he's a slick back guy when he's Clark Kent in this version. So yeah, they're in the newsroom talking and stuff. And then we hear that Jimmy comes up and says, hey, he says, did you hear the report? And they're like, what report? It says there was some dude robbing a clothing store. And says, like, and right next to a jewelry store with thousands of dollars of jewelry, but steals like $100 suit. And like, that's weird. And while they're listening to Jimmy talk, Clark hears a noise. And so he uses his X-ray vision and he looks down into the lobby of the Daily Planet. And he sees somebody, a male figure, standing in the lobby, kind of causing a commotion. And we know, but I guess Clark hadn't figured it out yet, it's Bizarro. He's still got the Superman suit on, but he's also got like the regular suit on too that was stolen. And you find out he was the one who stole the suit. And so Clark's like, oh, I gotta go. And they're like, where are you going? He's like, hey, I'm gonna go check out this robbery story. It might be something about it. And Lois is like, and Jim is like, well, it's not really a story. And Lois is like, look, if Clark thinks it's a story, I'm gonna get to it before he can get there. So of course Clark, in his super speed. He goes down the steps, and I like John draws it, starts out as Clark in his suit and slowly transitions to him as Superman. Clark runs out. She's like, Kent, Smallville, hey, where the hell did he go? Because he's gone. So he gets down to the lobby. Bizarro is popping the lenses out of the sunglasses, so when he puts them on, looks like regular eyeglasses. So Superman doesn't recognize yet. Then he spins him around. He's like, "What the heck is going on?" And he's like, "Look, I gotta get you out of here before you cause any more commotion." But Bizarro just pops him. He punches him full strength, shoots Superman out of the Daily Planet straight into a bus that's got commuters on it like that. And Superman's like, kind of shakes his head. He's like, "Whoa." He's like, "What was that?" And Superman basically, he's like, "I've gotten so used to pulling my punches, I've never faced anybody that is remotely close to my strength." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. John's putting it out there that this is the first time he's actually fought another super person in this version of Superman so far." So basically, I guess he's just been doing the normal stopping robbers and stuff like that. He hadn't actually fought a super villain yet.
This is like Superman Year One.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's John Byrne's reboot that DC wanted him to do. So they start fighting, and Bizarro, and this is odd because I remember Bizarro, again, this is one of many versions of Bizarro, but most of the time Bizarro has the opposite powers to Superman. Like, instead of heat vision, wouldn't it like freeze vision or something? Okay. Well, this version, he actually has heat vision like Superman does. So Bizarro uses his heat vision, and Superman, he's blocking it. But he's thinking to himself, he's like, "This is hurting a lot." He's like, "This is painful." He's like, "I don't know how much longer I can hang on before I pass out." And they keep fighting, and Lois shows up, and Bizarro's still wearing, of course, the Superman outfit, plus his, as Superman says, the Clark Kent look too. And Superman's like, "Oh crap." He's like, "If Lois sees him dressed as Superman and Clark Kent, she might figure out my secret identity." So he takes and uses his heat vision and burns off the Clark Kent clothes off of Bizarro. And it's cool too, because I guess it's either because of Superman's heat vision or whatever, but Bizarro's suit is the darker tone. Originally it was the same light blue and red that Superman's was, but now it's like a darker red. The cape's a little tattered, I guess, because it got burned, and the blue's darker. And now Bizarro is like full, like that white crystalline looking face, and his hair is kind of wild looking now too, like we would normally think of Bizarro. So they keep fighting, and they fight some more, and Superman notices that every time he punches him, he's like, "It's not doing a lot to him." He's like, "But every time I hit him, this dust keeps flying off of him." He's like, So Superman uses his vision, and he notices that Bizarro, well, I jumped ahead a little bit, but I'll go ahead and say it since I've started. He notices that Bizarro is not technically alive. He's not technically organic. And but before that, Bizarro sees Lois and flies away with her. And Superman's like, And he figures out that since he is a clone of himself, that he must have the same kind of memories and stuff that Superman has. And he mentions his growing love for Lois. So even here in the beginning of the post-era Superman, they're already sowing those seeds of him loving on Lois and, everything like that, which, was that in pre-crisis, like in the 70s maybe? Or earlier 80s, I wonder?
As far as him, like...
Him and Lois, or him having feelings for Lois, I wonder?
That was back in Action Comics.
Well, yeah, it was. Well, but I mean, I'm just curious though if they did anything with it further before that. That was what I was curious about, though.
Well, didn't they have the kid together before Crisis? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't read anything. I honestly, like I said, the first time I read Superman was the 90s. So, and they weren't married yet either. I think they got married after his return from him being dead, I believe.
Yeah, that is right on that.
But I thought that was cool though. He mentioned it. He's like my growing love for her.
Yeah.
So Bizarro flies away with her and takes her back to Lucy's apartment. and drops her off. And Lucy's like, Lois, is that you? And, Lois is like, yeah, it's me. And Bizarro kisses Lois. And she's like, all the times that I would want to be kissed by Superman, and it's not even the real Superman. It's some imitation Superman. And Lucy tells Lois, she's like, she says, after Superman saved me earlier, she said, I was able to start seeing these shapes and shadows. And I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. And so Superman shows back up, but they continue fighting. And they bust through the apartment building. Well, kind of, not really the whole building, kind of just through, I guess, Lucy's balcony, I guess. And Superman plummets to the ground. And this is when Superman examines Bizarro's body with his vision and notices that he's not technically organic. And he's a step ahead of a robot. And that he has the ability to mimic living cells, but is not alive, technically. So Superman's like, I guess now I don't have to hold back. I can, take him out or whatever. And we're getting close to the end here. So Bizarro, he's up in the sky looking down at Superman. Superman's on the ground. And so Bizarro starts flying at him. Superman starts flying up at Bizarro. They're going full speed at each other, head on. And they meet in the sky. Boom! Big explosion happens. And you just see it looks like snow falling to the ground. And Superman lands back on the balcony where Lois and Lucy is. And Lucy's like, Lois. She's like, oh my God, I can see. She's like, my vision's back. And Lois is like, what? How did that happen? And Superman, he landed. He's kind of holding his head like, oh boy. And Superman's like, I think I know what happened. And he said, I overheard you say after your first encounter with Bizarro, well, he didn't say Bizarro, but with my clone, he said that you started seeing shapes and shadows. And he said that I believe that his makeup, his whatever he was made out of, his genetic makeup was able to cancel out the effects of the chemicals that the hijacker threw in your face. And she said, well, so you know that when you risked your life to save us? And Superman's like, no. He said, I didn't know that. He said, but I think he did. Talking about Bizarro. So he believes that maybe Bizarro purposely allowed himself to be killed, basically, to cure Lucy's blindness. Because he has enough of the memories of Lucy and Lois to where he would care for him just like the real Superman Clark Kent would. And so yeah, that's where it ends. It ends with Superman basically killing Bizarro, this version of Bizarro. And I looked it up, and pretty much, unless I was reading the wrong section, we won't see Bizarro again until 1994.
Dang.
So he's gone for almost 10 years of the comics. Byrne brings him back for one issue, kills him, this version. And then I forgot exactly what transpires to bring him back, but I think it's a different version or something. But he pops back up in 1994.
So is this his first appearance ever?
No. This is Bizarro's appearance post-Crisis.
Post-Crisis,
He
okay.
first appeared, I want to say it was in either the 60s or 70s, I believe.
Wow.
I forgot to look that up. I'll look that up here in a moment. But yeah, he it might have been in the Superboy comic he might have first appeared in. I forget now. But this was his first post-Crisis appearance.
Okay. So I misunderstood.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good.
Sometimes I ramble. But yeah, this was his first post-Crisis appearance. And then he would not appear again until 1994 after this, which kind of surprised me. I was assuming that maybe Bizarro would pop up throughout the 80s, but apparently not. Byrne just popped him in, popped him out for almost 10 years.
I think my first experience reading Bizarro was it was Supergirl. That's the first time I read
Supergirl?
him. Yeah.
Okay.
He was really good in that. But yeah, I love Bizarro in general. He's kind of like a good guy, Solomon Grundy.
He is. Now, my first time seeing Bizarro was in the Super Friends cartoon.
Okay.
In the late 70s, early 80s.
So yeah.
It says here, Bizarro debuted in Superboy number 68. Published in August, cover dated October 1958.
Whoa.
By writer Otto Bender. Basically created the character as a Frankenstein's monster pastiche that possessed all the powers of Superboy.
Huh.
So he first debuted in 1958. Bizarro did.
We're going to have to look into that one.
Yeah. There's a lot of history. I'm not really going to go through a lot. I'll go through real fast here. Pre-Crisis Bizarro, there was a General Zod version. General Drew Zod had originally created Bizarro duplicates of himself to dominate the planet Krypton. The Bizarros had no power because they were not under a yellow sun, of course, but they were soldiers ready to kill and die without hesitation. This was the reason why Zod was banished to the Phantom Zone for 25 Krypton sun cycles.
See, I want to say when I was reading there was a Bizarro world. And
There
they had,
was. It
like
was
a whole population.
Instead of round, it was squared.
Yeah.
It was squared. Yeah. Yeah.
I freaking love Bizarro.
I think it was, that might have showed, I remember, they may have put that in the Super Friends cartoons. I remember there was a whole episode where, like, there was even a whole, Justice League, everybody was Bizarro versions.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
Firestorm, Batman, and I think even Lois, there was a Bizarro version of Lois too, I think, or something.
Yeah.
And then real quick, I'll read this. It says, some 12 years later, totally oblivious to these facts, a scientist on Earth is demonstrating his newly invented duplicating ray to Superboy, and an accident causes the ray to duplicate the superhero. The copy, quickly labeled Bizarro, is a flawed imitation as it possesses chalky white skin and childlike erratic behavior. Shunned by the people of Smallville, Bizarro befriends a girl named Melissa and loses all hope when he realizes that the girl did not shun or flee from him because she was blind. Superboy is eventually forced to kill, it has in quotations, Bizarro using the remains of the duplicating machine, which acts like blue kryptonite, the opposite to green kryptonite's effect on Superman. Bizarro deliberately destroys himself by colliding with the duplicating machine. Ensuing explosion restores Melissa's eyesight. So Byrne kind of copied that. It sounds like a little bit, yeah. Yeah, I like Bizarro. It's not a character I've really read much about. I love, was it in New 52 or Rebirth where they give him the sign where it says Bizarro #1?
Yes. Oh, I love that so much.
Man, McFarlane made his reissue Superpower toys. He made a Bizarro figure, but I never found that one, man. I really want it because he actually had the little medal that said Bizarro #1.
That's great.
So I love that. So yeah. So what do you think about it, man? It's a quick little fun fifth part of a 6-issue miniseries, but I liked it because I think they kind of play off as individual stories, even though they are part of a whole story.
Yeah. I like the style of retelling, and I do like his writing, and then the art was really good too. It's like it's not sketchy. Like I don't like it's very predominant. Mm-hmm. It's very straightforward. I like it. Yeah,
I knew he wrote this, but until I actually started researching a little bit and actually picked it up, I didn't know that he did the art as well. Mm-hmm. So I love his artwork. I guess me, growing up as a kid, this is the artwork I always saw as Superman. I remember seeing like on the back of other comics and magazines and stuff like that. This was the art that I remember seeing. This is, the 80s Superman that I grew up with.
I prefer the 80s style more than the 90s style.
Yeah. And apparently, from what I read, this canon of Superman's origin lasted until about 2003. From 1986 to 2003, when the Birthright story.
Was it Birthright or was it the Jeff Johns run?
I'm pretty sure it said Birthright,
okay.
I think. And they said it didn't really change it a lot. They said it expanded on it some.
Because I got that Secret Origin. That's the reason I was asking.
I'm pretty sure it said Birthright, if I'm not mistaken. And they said it kind of expanded on this origin that Byrne created. And then they said that one lasted until about 2009.
Okay, that's
when they had the what was it?
That's
right before New 52, I think it was.
Because New 52 is what
2011.
Okay, so that's what it is. Birthright is what you're talking about, and Secret Origin is the one I'm talking about. That's 2009.
Yeah, the 2003 Birthright added to this origin from 86, and that canon lasted until 2009. Then it got changed again, and then of course we had the whole New 52, which just shit everything out. It created its whole new universe.
Fucking Jim Lee screwed everything up. Because it was good right before that, too.
I collected the whole run of Superman New 52, which, 52 issues, plus some tie-ins with Action Comics and Supergirl. I didn't hate it. It was okay.
I like the Action Comics, like where it was Grant Morrison, where it was 5 years before. But
Yeah.
once it got to present day, I wasn't really.
I remember because we were pretty heavy into it at that time. Me and you both were in New 52 pretty heavy at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And you were telling me that. It's like, you were telling me about Action Comics and telling me about Superman. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Mm-hmm. And then we both looked it up and you're like, dude, Action Comics is 5 years before what's going on in Superman. I'm like, mother. And then eventually, like you said, it did catch up.
Yeah.
Time-wise. So, and then of course they end New 52 because it doesn't do as well as they wanted it to. They do Rebirth. That universe dies, I guess, kind of goes, well, the Superman definitely dies. Then this Superman, basically, you find out that he's trapped with Lois and John and people in a bottled city of his metropolis by Brainiac. And that's a whole nother little mini series that they do called Convergence that basically sets up Rebirth to where the 90s Superman, basically this Superman comes back and becomes Superman again. And I think that's kind of where we're at now. I think that Superman's still the Superman right now, I think.
It's just too much.
And I thought Marvel was confusing
right?
with stuff, man. I'm like, oh, Lord.
DC just does not give a damn.
Whew. So, real quick, I'm going to read a little bit off of Wikipedia here about Mr. John Byrne, which he's still with us. I'm not saying he's gone. He's still with us. He came into the comics profession as a penciler, inker, letterer, and writer on his earliest work. Byrne began co-plotting the X-Men comics during his tenure for story arcs including the Dark Phoenix Saga, Days of Future Past, and he co-created characters such as Kitty Pryde, Emma Frost, Sabretooth, Shadow King, and Rachel Summers. Let's see. He launched his writing career with Fantastic Four, also serving as penciler and inker, and added She-Hulk onto the team while writing a solo series for The Thing. While working on the X-Men, he created the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight.
That's cool.
And later wrote and drew their own series. Then he would jump to DC, and he would do this. He would establish the modern origin for Superman in The Man of Steel before writing and drawing 2 monthly titles and various miniseries for the character. He would then return to Marvel, introducing the Great Lakes Avengers. I have no idea.
All right.
And wrote and drew the humorous fourth wall breaking series, The Sensational She-Hulk. Revisiting X-Men as a writer, he co-created Bishop,
the best time traveling mutant of all time,
and Omega Red. Let's see. He was also a writer and artist on a Wonder Woman series for 3 years, during which he created the second Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark.
I know he wrote Action Comics for a while because I got some of those too.
Yeah, this is Wikipedia kind of just giving me a broad information. It says, during the 90s, he produced a number of creator-owned works, including Next Men and Danger Unlimited, and was one of the founders of the Legend imprint at Dark Horse Comics. He scripted the first issues of Mike Mignola's Hellboy series and produced several Star Trek comics for IDW. In 2010, he revived Next Men to conclude the series. Hailed as one of the most prolific and influential comic book writers ever, Byrne and his X-Men collaborator Chris Claremont were entered into the Will Eisner Award Hall of Fame in 2015. So that's a little quick history on Mr. John Byrne. And again, like I said, he's still with us now. As of this Wikipedia page, it says he's 75 years old, born July 6, 1950 in Staffordshire, England.
It's pretty cool.
So, yeah. I love, like I said, after picking this up and reading this, I'm like, this is the Superman look I remember as a kid. I did not know John Byrne was the artist. I'm like, this is what I remember.
And to write and draw it, it's really good.
Yeah, and he did go on to write, I think, 22 or 23 issues of the Superman titled comic. I think he might have wrote Action Comics too.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. He wrote Action Comics in 2006 era.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now because at this time in 86 and then into 87, there were three titles. There were Superman, Action Comics, and The Adventures of Superman. And The Adventures of Superman actually was the pre-Crisis Superman title. It just got retitled. And The Adventures of Superman and Action Comics kept their legacy numbering to where the Superman title started off brand new number 1. It was technically considered Superman Volume 2.
Okay.
Is what it was considered. And he was on it for, like I said, 22 or 23 issues. And then I read an article that basically said he left because he got to the point he didn't feel like DC was supporting him creatively on Superman or something like that. So he left. And that's when he went back to Marvel or whatever. And I think it's either the 80s Action Comics of the same time or The Adventures of Superman at the same time. I think Marv Wolfman was a writer and stuff on one of those two books. So, and I wanted to collect that Superman title, but I was told by several fans they all three interconnect. I'm like, I can't get all three of those books.
You have to.
Because like Superman itself ran for like 226 issues.
You're just going to have to.
No. So I've got this. Byrne also did a 4-issue miniseries called The World of Krypton, where he basically rewrote the history of Krypton, the world of Metropolis, and the world of Smallville. It was all had to do with rebuilding Superman's world post Crisis on Infinite Earths. I have 2 out of the 3. I still need the world of Metropolis, so let's see how that is. So I'm going to read real quick. This is a question about Superman that I had asked back with our Action Comics episode that I forgot to read on that episode.
You're fired.
This is on the Dissect That Film Discord. I'm just going to read through a couple real quick. And basically I asked them what was their first introduction to Superman and their thoughts on the character. This one is from Captain Steve over at the Bucket of Chum podcast. And he says, when I was a kid, we had a VHS tape with a bunch of old Superman cartoons that I watched quite a bit. He said, my favorite era is hard to say. He said, I liked Cavill, but other than Man of Steel, I didn't really like the others. But I really enjoyed Smallville. It was exactly what you'd expect from a soap opera early 2000s TV show.
I agree.
Let's see. Comic book wise, he said that the only ones he really read was the All-Star Superman, which I read here. And no, I watched the animated movie version that they did, and I liked it a lot. So I'm assuming it was pretty close to the books, I guess. I don't know for sure.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah. And then let's see who else. This one comes from Derek over at Bad Movies Worst People. He says, I don't remember my introduction, but the first thing I can really recall watching regularly is the Superman animated series from the 90s, and my parents watched Lois and Clark. Oh, I love that show. I love Dean Cain's Superman. So I watched it scattered throughout with other older cartoons. Dude, that animated series from the 90s, oh, God. It was on par with the Batman animated series, I think.
It was.
Sure.
I mean, you had the trifecta. You had the Batman, the Superman, then the Justice League.
Oh, that's so
Couldn't
good.
touch them.
So good. He says, as far as my favorite era, he says, I don't really know. He says, I've never been a big Superman fan. He said, the undefeatable, infallible Boy Scout was never something that appealed to me. And that's what the cartoon mostly was. I also never really read much Superman. And the only DC stuff I read regularly was Jeff Johns' Blackest Night, Green Lantern. Damn right. That was a good era for Green Lantern. Charlie over at Give Me Back My Action Horror Movies says, as far as the movies go, OG Christopher Reeve all the way. Totally agree. Cannot beat Christopher Reeve, even though we'll discuss in a moment. I love the new movie, but yeah, you can't beat Christopher Reeve. TV-wise, he was a big fan of Lois and Clark and Smallville. And comic books-wise, he said, I didn't really get into DC all that much. He said, I only had a few Superman comics here and there. He says, like a lot of people, I'm not a big fan of Superman. He's like, don't hate me for it. He's just not really my hero. We don't hate you, Charlie. Everybody likes who they like, man. And real quick, let me read 2 more real quick, and then we'll move on. Old Man Brad says that his introduction was the Christopher Reeve movies. He loved Superman 2. As far as his favorite, it was the 90s run of Superman, Doomsday, Death, and Return. I was a huge fan of the comics during that time and loved what DC did with Batman Nightfall, Death of Superman, Emerald Twilight. You know, I mean, they were trying to pick up sales for sure. That's why they killed.
Yeah.
I think sales in the 90s, unfortunately, were dropping in comic books. During that run, I was a fan of the Eradicator when the Superman returned. that is until the real Superman came back. I always loved the design of the Eradicator.
Yeah, he looked cool.
I loved his look, man, for sure. And then the last one is from Parker over at Dissect That Film. He says, my introduction was the Superman animated series by Bruce Timm. He said, I'm not really a Superman fan, but I enjoy the different iterations of the character we've gotten over the years. I highly enjoy Man of Steel. I'll probably enjoy the new one. I don't get excited about the character like I do with Batman. I've never read a Superman comic, but I did own a replica of his introduction from 1938, Action Comics #1. Right. So thank you guys. Sorry I forgot about it on our last episode, but I got it in there this time. So
I'll punish him later.
Yeah, he'll give me later.
Home. Take me home.
Superman.
So, Sean, what you got for us, man?
Well, we'll get to that after we discuss this movie.
Oh, yeah, let's talk Superman 2025 by director James Gunn.
All right, so we know you obviously love it.
I mean, I do. I mean, can I have problems with it? Yes, I do have a few nitpicks with it, but overall, I did really, really enjoy this movie.
I will just say that most of the movie is in the trailer.
Let's say 90% of it is probably.
Yeah, it really is.
85-90% it is in the trailer.
And that was a bummer. I was hoping there'd be like more to it than that.
Yeah.
But as far as the movie itself, it's okay. It's not the worst movie ever. It's not the best movie ever.
Oh no, I've seen worse.
We have seen worse.
We have seen worse.
We have seen worse. But I would say I love Crypto. I love Supergirl. That's probably my favorite part of the whole movie. It was
Dude, yeah, there's been some devising on the Supergirl situation, but I'm like, I researched it, and apparently supposedly the source material that they're using, she's like that in the comic book version that they're using, supposedly.
I'm going to pick that up at one point.
Woman of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, man. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Let's see. I love the Justice King.
Oh my God, Nathan Fillion and his Guy Gardner. Lord mercy. Oh.
I guess we should have said up front, this is going to be a spoiler.
It will be a spoiler, but I mean, it's been out since July 11th. It's been out almost a month.
Yeah, it's
so if you ain't seen it yet, your fault.
Yeah. Let's see what else happened in the movie. I thought Lex Luthor was really good.
Dude, Tyler Hoechlin, I mean, you go from Beast to Lex Luthor. I'm like, damn.
I wouldn't have guessed that at all. He plays a good asshole.
And I mean, he committed to it. He legit shaved his head. That ain't a bald cap.
Yep.
He shaved his head for the role.
I like him way better than the last guy.
Oh, yeah, that guy got on my nerves. The only thing I like that guy in is Zombieland. That's it. That's it.
I didn't mind him playing Zuckerberg or whatever that movie was.
The Facebook thing?
Yeah.
I never seen that movie.
But yeah, Zombieland, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
If I was going to give it like a rating, I'd probably put like a 6.5 or something like that.
Okay. That's totally fair. Totally fair.
Like I said, it doesn't suck. It's not the worst movie ever, but...
No. I think and people, they was already saying, oh, well, it's going to definitely be like Guardians of the Galaxy. It has that feel.
That's what he did.
Does.
He took Guardians of the Galaxy and he put Superman characters.
It has that feel. I do agree. It does have that feel, but kind of like how people complain about Michael Bay, I think that's just how Gunn is.
That's fine.
Maybe.
But my biggest complaint, I forgot this.
Oh.
The grandparents. Or not the
Kents. That's my
yeah.
nitpick. God, I keep hitting the microphone. That's my nitpick is the Kents. I understand. I understand they're Kansas, and I understand they are country.
He made them dumb.
Martha was worse than Jonathan was, I think.
They both were dumb.
Her southern drawl, bless her.
And we're southern people.
Yeah, we are. We live in Tennessee, so yeah. Bless her heart. I don't know if Gunn was doing that on purpose to make fun of people from Kansas, or if that's just if that's just his humor. I don't know, but her drawl, bless her. And then the thing she's talking on the cell phone, Clark, honey. I'm just like, look, Martha and Jonathan are not dumb. Even in 1986, and this right here, John Byrne, they're not dumb. They are country, yes. They are.
Well, they are farmers. I get that.
Yeah, they're salt of the earth people, but they're not stupid. Excuse my language.
That's what they come off as that.
But I only got that really from the mama. Now she did. The moment when Lois rescues him out of the pocket dimension of Luthor and brings him back to the farm to recuperate. You can see that she did play the loving scenes for Clark good, I thought, but the accent just killed me. The dad, he's been in several different things. He was in Constantine. He was in several different movies. I thought the guy that played the dad was pretty good.
Yeah.
I loved his speech with Clark outside the house and that morning when Clark's eating cereal and stuff,
Yeah, but the rest of it is like,
yeah, the mom took me out of it when I first heard her voice. Because you only get a clip of her in the film where she's like, I watched your boots, I'll go get them for you. I'm like, okay, I understand there's going to be a little southern twang possibly. Even though Kansas ain't really southern. But I get the country twang, I get it. But once you watch the movie and you hear her talk, I'm just like, oh.
I want to rip my hair out.
I'm like, James. James, come on, man. What did you think about Mr. Terrific?
He was the best part of the movie.
I know very
I've done said like 3 things of the best part of the movie, but he was one of them.
Dude, I know very, very little about this character from the comics. My first introduction to him was in the Arrow TV show, that version of him. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing this version is maybe more accurate to modern Mr. Terrific in the comics. I don't know. I know the T-Spheres for sure from the comic books. Yeah, this guy knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
dude.
He was great.
Loved it. I mean, give me a movie, and I love Green Lantern, but give me a movie with just Superman and Mr. Terrific, and
I want a buddy cop movie with him and Jon Stewart.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. God, Terrific, man. I wanted to see more, and I get it. It was people's complaints is it's Superman movie, but it's got other heroes in it. I get that.
They should have called it instead of Superman. They should have just called it Man of Tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
gave it a different subtitle.
I guess so.
To change it up.
I mean, Superman. He is in the movie almost beginning to end, pretty much. But I know they do. Put the other characters in there as well, which I didn't have a problem with it. I loved all of them. Hawk Girl, she did nothing really.
No, she was there to fly around.
I mean, she did murder the one politician guy, but she was really nothing much. Now, I'm not knocking the actress. No, I'm just saying as they cut a lot of her stuff out, or they just purposely didn't use her a lot. Of course, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was used a lot. Mr. Terrific was used quite a bit. That scene where they go to rescue Clark. When he's with Lois and he puts her in that protective bubble and his T-Sphere is whooping ass on those Luthor Corp people. I'm like, give me more of this. Yeah. Like, give me a Mr. Terrific movie. And I think he's either going to get his own movie or a TV show, I think they said.
That'd be good.
I'm like, I'm there for that. Give me that. We get a cameo from Peacemaker, briefly. talking about it. And supposedly, I guess his second season is going to tie into the movie because there's a trailer where it shows Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl talking to Peacemaker, supposedly. So I'm like, oh, God dang, just John Cena, whatever.
I hate John Cena.
Whatever.
But whatever.
Metamorpho was cool. What little bit of time he was there. I like Metamorpho. Again, it's not a character I know hardly anything about other than his ability to become any element, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, that's your token Guardians character.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like the rock dude from Thor.
Oh, yeah. Except Taika Waititi's not voicing him, though. Let's see. I like Jimmy. Jimmy's not in there that much, but I like Jimmy. He did harken back to the old comic book version. He's red-haired with freckles. Yeah. A lot of people was praising that, which I'm like, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me.
Lois was okay.
They definitely were trying to do Margot Kidder, Lois. I felt that's what they were trying to do. Yeah, she's good. I forgot the actress's name. I liked her. She was good. I thought Corn Sweat did a good job. A lot of people, I remember reading some stuff online, people complain about there wasn't enough Daily Planet stuff. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have liked to see a little bit more Daily Planet, but again, I'm not mad about it, really. I mean, we got that one scene that was in the trailer where Lois is interviewing Clark. And then now this is a cool thing too, because remember the promotional artwork that we got, or the poster where Superman's putting his suit on, you see like the alien thing in the background? Yeah. Okay, I like that in the movie because basically the Justice Gang are fighting that creature.
The Justice Gang.
And
I love it.
Superman is talking to Lois, and she's like, and she says, shouldn't you be out there helping them? He's like, no, they got it. It's not that big of a threat. They're okay. We need to talk. And, so, they have their little discussion or whatever. Yeah, I mean, overall, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. Like I said, the nitpick would be the Kents. And let's see, is there any other nitpick I have of it? I guess maybe just not enough Daily Planet. I'd like to see a little bit more Daily Planet stuff, maybe. We had Cat Grant, and a couple other characters, but I wouldn't care to have just a little bit more, interaction with the Daily Planet stuff, maybe.
I think that's the problem, too. They put so many characters in there. That's one of the... Anytime you do more than like 4 or 5 characters, your movie's going to be hard to follow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they should have either done Superman and Terrific or Superman and Guy Gardner. I think should have been it. Metamorpho does play an important part. I mean, he is a prisoner of Lex, and he does create the kryptonite to keep Superman.
That's different. He's
down.
Like part of the plot.
Yeah. So
whereas like
that's
Hawk
important.
Girl wasn't.
No, you could have kept Hawk Girl out, and you wouldn't have lost anything in the film. And like I said, you could have done both Terrific and Guy maybe, and been okay. Yeah, I guess
they played off each other well. So
yeah, again, I'm not being mean to the girl that plays Hawk Girl. She's a great actress. She was in Transformers 4 or 5. So she's a good actress, and I love the outfit. I loved her look, and what little bit of time she was in there was really good. But for what she was in there for, they could have just took her completely out, and she'd been okay. Yeah,
all the costumes were pretty good.
Yeah, I really like the Superman outfit. A lot of people everybody was bitching about that outfit before the movie even came out, and I'm just like, I like the suit. I like it. I like the Kingdom Come version of the S symbol that's on it.
Well, that was my wife's complaint, was the symbol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the other girl that went with us, her complaint was that she expected it to be more social commentary, what everybody was complaining about.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't, honestly.
I think it would have made it more interesting if it was.
Well, I mean, they did touch on... I got into an argument with somebody because somebody said, oh, it was, you must have been blind or deaf. You didn't hear him talk about immigration. I was like, no, I heard what he was talking about.
It was very minimum.
But they didn't beat me over the head with it. That's what I hate about so much modern movies. I mean, they got to beat you over the head with a message. You don't got to do that. I understand Superman's an immigrant. He's an alien from another planet. I totally get that. And what they did was they peppered it in enough to where you understood his message, but they weren't beating you over the head with it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't take away the enjoyment of the film just to put a message out there is what, I don't think they did, at least.
Well, I think they could have done it more and been okay, too.
Yeah, it depends on how you handle it. It really is.
Because if you'd made that, that particular part of the movie, they're more focused on the battles than they are, the actual,
And, I mean, you can read stuff out of that war that's going on with the other country invading the other country. I mean, you can completely compare that to real life events if you want to.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was in the back of my head, but I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the film for what it was. People complain too, well, they wanted Superman. but Superman didn't go save him. The Justice Gang went and saved him. I'm like, he was saving Metropolis with Mr. Terrific. I mean, I'm sure even in the comic books, he's had to make hard decisions where he can go and where the other heroes can go. That's the point of the movie where I'm like, okay, I understand why the heroes are in there, because there's two huge threats in opposite ends of the planet.
Yeah.
Either he goes to stop the invasion or he saves Metropolis. I guess it suited him better to be in Metropolis because that's where Ultraman was. That's where the engineer was.
Ultraman. We didn't even talk about that.
Oh, no, we didn't talk about that. So I'm like, I get why they did that. Why they split them up. It makes sense why they split them up.
At least there's a reason to have all those characters there.
Yeah. So yeah, Ultraman.
Yeah. I was like, huh. This is kind of like a callback to when Superman had to fight Superman in, what was it, Superman 3? 4? No,
it was 3 with the synthetic kryptonite. Yeah, the evil version of Superman. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I know.
The whole time I was thinking, okay, this is going to be Nuclear Man. And then they said Ultraman. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. What, Kate, did you automatically figure out that he was a clone as soon as the Fortress of Solitude opened up?
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. There was a couple of people in the theater like, how did that open? Because Superman clearly said it was DNA coded. I'm like, clone? A clone?
The robots were cool.
Oh, dude, I love the robots. Of course, Alan Tudyk played number 4, played Gary?
Gary.
He played Gary.
Call me Gary.
Call me Gary. This is number 12. She's new. Oh, he smiled at me. Let's see. I guess my last point would be people complaining about him being weak. Superman. You get a crawl Star Wars kind of style at the beginning of the film, and it breaks it down. What is it? 300 years ago, metahumans appeared on Earth. 30 years ago, Superman showed up on Earth. Well, Kal-El showed up on Earth. 3 years ago, Superman introduced himself, I think it said, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they said this was the first time he ever lost a fight, in which we find out he's fighting the Ultraman in this Luthor-looking suit, Iron Man almost kind of looking suit or whatever. So that tells me right there, in 3 years, he's never lost a fight until now. So either it's like this comic book, he either didn't fight a super being up until this point, or...
Well, that's hard to believe since you already got...
The metahumans have already been there.
Yeah.
So I guess because... And we find out, too, in the movie that Lex has studied his moves over these years. He's basically playing a video game with Ultraman. He's calling out a moveset, and Ultraman does it. Calls out a moveset, Ultraman does it.
That is kind of cool, because it makes Lex Luthor seem smart.
Yeah.
In which he needs to be.
Yeah, for sure. And so Superman gets defeated by, we don't know it at the time, but it's Ultraman in a different costume. And, of course, everybody hated. He lands in the snow, and Krypto's jumping all over him, and he's screaming and hollering. He's hurt. I get it. And we find out Krypto is not his dog anyway. That's why he doesn't mind him. He's Supergirl's dog. That's why he doesn't mind. And then they take him back to the fortress that we saw in the trailer. He gets healed by the sun, but he only is healed up to like 83%. So I feel, and you can call it an excuse if you want to, I don't care. This is my thing. He only healed up to 83%. He jumps out of the chair, leaves the fortress, go back to Metropolis. He's not at full power still. He's not 100% healed. So I feel like that played into the part, and he's still strong. He still fought that damn kaiju, still held hit up. So I don't know. I disagree with people saying he was a weak Superman. I don't feel like he was a weak Superman. I feel like he was like this Superman because John Byrne dropped his power level because he even said in an interview, he said we'd got to the point where Superman could just punt a planet. And he said that gets to a point where the character's not relatable to readers anymore. He said, so I've dropped his powers a little bit. And I feel like it's what Gunn might have done here.
Yeah.
Is he dropped his power just a little bit. He didn't make him weak.
He's got to have a challenge.
Yeah, because it says clearly this is the first time in 3 years he's lost a fight. So that tells me right there, Superman's still super flipping strong. He just finally met a match that beat him.
What they should do is showed maybe a little collage of his battles up until then, kind of build them up. That way it made more of an impact.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with your point though, for once.
I appreciate that. Thank
no
you.
problem. A clock is right twice a day.
Yeah,
or a broken clock, that is.
And I'll say real quick, and then I'll shut up. I got, and I think it was purposeful. I felt some Reeve vibes from the Superman. It was definitely a more hopeful feeling movie, a little lighter tone. Which
That's
again,
all because of the music.
and well, Gunn too, probably.
Mm-hmm.
He saves a squirrel.
I forgot about that.
He saves a squirrel. I'm like, it's not a cat in a tree, but it's a squirrel.
Okay, the last point. The Jor-El message.
Yeah, that one. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go with it being the true message or if it was the engineer and Lex messing with the message.
Okay,
I don't know.
If it's the engineered, okay, cool. If it's legit, that's the same thing as like when Clark like murders what's his name in Man of Steel?
Oh, Zod.
Zod, yeah. It's like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I really don't know. I mean, like I was telling you, I've started watching that new cartoon. Well, not new, but new to me, the My Adventures with Superman, and I just found out that basically the Kryptonian Empire was going around, you know, conquering these other planets and stuff and bringing them into the Empire. And in John Byrne's comic here, in the very first issue, it shows Jor-El and Lara sending Clark to Earth, and she's appalled when she sees pictures of us. She's like, they show their bare skin? Oh my God, and they're weak? Because his version of Krypton is very sanitized and everything. And she says, there's a line that she says, and I think I sent you the picture, because Jor-El says, yeah, in their environment, their sun and stuff, he'll basically be a god. He'll be stronger than them and faster than them and everything like that. And Lara looks at him, she's like, so he'll rule them? Make a new Krypton? And he's like, well, maybe, but that's not my main concern. My main concern is make sure our child survives. So and it may be way before this, but at least in 1986, that was put in there that Krypton could be that way, maybe. They could feel that way about other planets, maybe.
I'm sure they've done it multiple times.
I'm sure, probably. Again, it's 90 years of history that me and Sean neither one know completely. Yeah. So,
but in this movie, it takes away from it, I feel.
It does. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if Gunn will retcon it later and say, yeah, it was the engineer and Luthor, or if it was the real message. But it plays into, because at the end of it, when Clark goes to get healed again, he's like, you know, play images of my parents. And it's the Kents.
Yep.
It's not Jor-El and Lara.
I get it, like Kents. Having that kind of special moment, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that and the Kents were my two negative, not super negative, but my negative points.
All right. So our girl Autumn, she sent us her ranking of the Superman movies.
Okay, cool.
We're going to listen to that now.
Hey there, it's Autumn. I'm going to be doing a ranking today for the podcast. From a little spot on there, I'm going to be doing a ranking I have just recently, in honor of the new James Gunn Superman, ranked all 10 of what I call Superman and Superman adjacent movies. So by Superman adjacent, that basically means every theatrical movie about Superman, plus the Helen Slater Supergirl movie, and the Justice League movie. And note, I'm ranking them as their theatrical versions, so I'm not doing any director's cuts, so no Donner cut of Superman 2, no Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, no Justice League Snyder cut, just theatrical cuts. Only place where that's a little kind of iffy is with the Helen Slater Supergirl movie, because there are 3 cuts of that movie. The American cut is actually kind of like a butchered cut of the original cut, which hit theaters everywhere but the U.S. So, and that one I watched the European cut, which is what people know. So for that one, that's what I'm going to be ranking there. Anyway, I'll dive right into it. Top 10, okay. And number 10 for my Superman ranking, I say Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I wasn't a fan of that movie. I don't hate it. Well, I kind of do hate it, but I see why it has its fans. It's just not for me. I don't really like the kind of dark, edgy tone for a character like Superman, or even though she's in Wonder Woman. It kind of works for Batman, but I still don't exactly like the way they took Batman in that movie. And I feel as though beyond that, I also really hate Lex Luthor or Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Not a fan of that. I just didn't really like that choice. And I know it felt to me a little rushed, like both to push forward Justice League. I think there was I think the scenes with like Aquaman and the Flash and all that were really awkward. From what I hear, there's supposed to be more of them. I don't know if it's in the Ultimate Edition or if it was just stuff that was scrapped, but I think it could have used either more Justice League setup or less Justice League setup, in my opinion. And like Wonder Woman, I'm not against Wonder Woman being in that movie. I just think Wonder Woman was kind of unnecessary in that movie, if that makes sense. She didn't really do much other than show up at the end of the movie to kind of take care of things. And also, it rushed Doomsday, in my opinion. I think Doomsday was a big story in the comics, big deal. And for that movie, Doomsday was the whole story of Doomsday was kind of told in like 8 minutes. And I just wasn't a fan of the way that movie took. And it's kind of weird because I used to like it. I saw it in theaters and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's just kind of like in hindsight, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But I did like it. It was a good movie. Or, I mean, I didn't like it. Whoops. But I wasn't a big fan. I give it, for me personally, a 1.75 out of 5. Then on to number 9, which is Man of Steel. Man of Steel, that's another one. I was a big fan of Man of Steel when it came out, and like I watched it a couple times since, and I liked it. But on this viewing specifically, I wasn't a big fan of it. There was some cool stuff. The first scene of Superman flying was really cool, and the big battle with Zod at the end was kind of cool. I think the snapping Zod's neck thing was kind of like uncharacteristic in my opinion. I think it was kind of weird. Like, why didn't the people just run the other way? That was totally an option. Superman had him held down, you know. But also, I think if they were trapped, I think in my headcanon of what my Superman would do, I think Superman would just like put his hand in front of it and or something. But there was a lot I didn't really care for about that movie. And I don't think Henry Cavill's a bad choice, though. I actually think he is an excellent choice to play Superman. I just don't think... I think it's, for me, what I don't really care for about Cavill's Superman is in the writing, not in the acting. Because I think when he wants to, he actually is a really great Superman. I think it just seems like stuff like Superman like snapping the handcuffs and kind of like in that scene, kind of like intimidating people. That just doesn't feel like Superman to me. But, and once again, like I said with Batman v Superman, I get why it's like that. It does have its fans, and I see why people like it. It wasn't for me. I give it a 2.25 out of 5. Then at my number 8, I say Superman 3. Superman 3 is fun. I had fun with it. It's cool. To me, it's a little weird, after Superman and Superman 2, Superman 3 does feel a little weird, and to me, Superman 3 kind of feels like, I know it has Richard Pryor in it, and it kind of feels like one of the movies Richard Pryor would have been in, just kind of toned down to a PG, and with Superman in it, and it does kind of downplay Lois Lane, which is a bummer, but to my knowledge, I think I've heard, Margot Kidder didn't really want to be in that one, but, it was okay. I had fun with it. It's not what I wanted, but it's all I needed. And that's definitely what I'll say about it. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Then, at my number 7, I say a very underrated movie, Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. I actually really enjoyed The Quest for Peace. I think it was really fun. It's a little weird, some of the scenes, Superman on Superman and Clark Kent on the double date with Lois and the other chick. I think that kind of scenes like that made it sure when the action's not happening, it kind of felt like Three's Company, but skinned with Superman. But when the action's happening too, it's awesome. That fight with Nuclear Man. I know it's kind of the effects may not look as good as Superman or Superman 2, but I mean, that's just an epic fight. I love the fight. It's 2 rounds. It's extravagant. They go to the moon. It's like a Dragon Ball Z fight almost, and I thought it was awesome. I love that part of it. But I really enjoyed Superman for the Quest for Peace. Didn't think it was amazing, but I liked it. And I say, for that, I give it a 4 out of 5. Then at my number 6, I say Zack Snyder's Justice League, but not the Snyder cut, like I said, just the theatrical cut. I know, even though I didn't really like the direction of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, I actually really like Zack Snyder's Justice League, like the Snyder cut, and think it's really good. But the theatrical cut here, it was good too. I've seen it twice now. I saw it in theaters when it came out, and then I just watched it again. And the Snyder cut, the theatrical cut, it's good. Yeah, it is kind of like an incomplete story, but it is still, for what it is, a good movie. I think it's fun. I had fun with it. A lot of good action scenes. For me, my only complaints is a couple of the casting choices. I'm not a fan of Momoa as Aquaman. Like, he's a good actor. I just don't think that role's for him. And I really don't like Ezra Miller as the Flash. Ben Affleck is a good Batman, but I just think he's kind of written weird. Like, I think some of the lines, like what's your superpower? I'm rich, I think is very kind of uncharacteristic of Batman, but I mean, it's still cool, and it's fun. At the end of the day, it's a fun popcorn movie. Good, fun to just put on, turn your brain off, and just watch and have fun. I enjoyed it. I say also 4 out of 5. And then at number 5, now the top 5, or number 5, this one is going to surprise people. I say number 5, Superman 2. I love Superman 2. Back when I was a kid, I would always say Superman 2 was the best Superman movie. Rewatching it, I love Superman 2 still, and I think it's a fantastic movie. It's just epic, it's great, I love it. I think the humor and the comedy is a little out of place for me. It lands even. It's just kind of following up Superman the movie. It feels kind of weird. Like, but it's still tonally similar enough that it's not like Superman 3 where it's just like, what even is this? Like, it still feels like a sequel to Superman the movie. It's just a little weird to me, but that's okay because it's still a fantastic movie. I love Superman 2. For me, I give Superman 2 a 4.75 out of 5. And now, my top 4, in my opinion, which if you know what I'm talking about here, you can narrow it down to what they are, just maybe not the order, are, in my opinion, perfect movies. They're movies I would say are 5 out of 5, perfect movies. I have zero problems, and I love them, and I think they're just perfect. So, number 4, I say, would be Supergirl. I really enjoyed the Helen Slater Supergirl movie. To me, it's really fun. I know a lot of people strongly dislike that movie, but I thought it was really fun. Like, I loved the Helen Slater Supergirl movie. To me, it feels like the perfect balance of superhero movie, 80s high fantasy movie, and, like, girl power slumber party movie. And that's awesome. I love that movie. That's a fantastic movie. I think out of all the Reeve and Reeve adjacent movies, the only one I like better is Superman the movie. Like, Supergirl's awesome. I love that movie. Fantastic. 5 out of 5. Then for my number 3, one that was interesting to me, Superman Returns. Okay, so back in 2006, when that came out, I would have been 7 years old. And I liked it. I thought it was, I didn't see it, but I liked all the trailers and stuff, but I never got around to watching it. That year, I did go to the theater and see X-Men The Last Stand, which I liked back then, but now I don't really. But Superman Returns, I never got to see. So, doing this retrospect was my first time seeing Superman Returns. And for me, I think Returns was phenomenal. Brandon Routh does a great job as Superman. Kevin Spacey is the best portrayal of Luthor that I've ever seen. And I know a lot of people say their biggest complaint with Returns, if they have one, is the lack of action. But to me, I mean, it was action-packed the whole time. You have, like, the Superman saving the big, like, plane thing. You have, like, Superman saving the, like, girl that's put in there to trap him by Lex. You have the scene with they're shooting at him, and I like the scene of, like, the bullet bouncing off of his eye. The epic final conclusion of where he's fighting Lex with James Marsden and Lois Lane and the kid, you know, all in the helicopter. I just thought it was awesome. I love Superman Returns, and I think it is a shame that we couldn't get another one of those movies, because that would have been amazing. I would have loved that. But Superman Returns was great. This was my first time seeing it, and I wish I could have seen that in the theater. It was amazing. And I think, personally, in my opinion, that movie had the best costume design for Superman in a live-action movie ever. Loved Superman Returns. Then, number 2, I say, is the original Superman, the movie, from 1978, Christopher Reeve. That was my favorite comic book movie of all time. I was saying it's fantastic. I think, you know, just everything about it is so perfect, and I think, like, the tagline was, "You will believe a man can fly," and, you know, that's like the only time I can think of where a movie, the tagline ain't just a tagline, the tagline's a promise, and they made good on it, you know, like, back then, you couldn't just see a man flying in a movie, and when that came out, like, it didn't look hokey. Like, by today's standards, it doesn't look impressive, but it didn't look hokey, and for 1978, it was hard to do that. And I think it's just for 78, that movie is a visual marvel, and it really feels like a comic book come to life. I just think it's phenomenal. And I say, that's why it's number 2 on my list. And I didn't think anything would top it. But, number 1, the James Gunn Superman, the new one. I think that was amazing. I said, I had my doubts and fears about it, and I had what I wanted out of it. But the new James Gunn Superman movie was everything I wanted out of it and more. It was perfect. It was hopeful. It was comic booky. It was fun. It was action-packed. It was funny in that sort of James Gunn way, but not too funny. There was just, everybody was perfectly cast. Superman, Lois, Jimmy, you know, Green Lantern, like Guy Gardner's Green Lantern and all, you know, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific. Everybody was perfectly cast. It was just so good. Like, it was really good. Like, I cried 5 times, and not at any particularly sad scenes. It was epic. It was epic. I definitely love it. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go see it. And make sure you see it in the theater. See it in IMAX if you can. I did. It was amazing. I'm going to see it again Thursday because it was that good. It was just amazing. Love it. I think maybe, I'd have to think about it, but it's maybe the best comic book movie of all time. 5 out of 5. I love it. And yeah, that's my top 10 Superman movies. Hope you enjoyed listening to that.
Well, thank you, Autumn. That was amazing to go through and relive a lot of that.
You like the Superman Returns suit, huh?
You should have seen Dan's face when you said that.
The S was so small on his chest.
Well, it's because they had millions of other tiny S's on there.
Bryan Singer in his bikini briefs. No, I was kidding.
Well, he likes the little boy ones, I heard.
It is a really good movie. The suit it's my least favorite suit, but the movie was really good. And Brendan Routh would come back later in the Arrowverse to reprise his role as a Superman, Kingdom Come Superman, I think it was.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm happy that she likes Superman 4, like, as much as I do.
That was a surprise.
Because out of Reeves' movies, people put it last. They shit on it. But you have to understand, it was a different production company than the other 3 films. It was canon. Because Superman 3 didn't make the money that Salkind and them wanted it to make. So they basically sold the rights, and they moved on to make the Superboy TV show. So Canon Films got the rights to Superman and made Superman 4. and they cut the budget drastically. It was like, I think originally the budget was anywhere from like 30 to 50 million. They cut it down to like $17 million.
Well, we gotta make that He-Man movie.
Well, that's the truth.
Yeah.
They pulled a lot of budget to make other films, Masters of the Universe, and an unproduced Spider-Man movie they were going to make. So they cut the budget a lot, and there's a lot of scenes that were cut out of the movie that they filmed. There's actually a whole Nuclear Man #1 that was created first, and he's more of a Frankenstein, almost Bizarro type looking Nuclear Man. And they filmed the scenes, but they cut it. There's a couple other scenes of the little boy when he says that he wished Superman could, get rid of all the nuclear weapons and stuff. There's a scene they cut out, which I have no idea why they cut it out, because it's actually a good scene, where he actually goes to the school and tells the boys, like, look, I can't interfere, in Earth stuff. But they cut that scene. Why? I have no idea. So that's why I think Superman, like she said about Supergirl, Superman 4 gets a little bit of hate because Cannon cut the budget. Still, I think, come out a great film with what little bit of a budget they had, but they cut the budget and they cut certain scenes out, and it explains some things about the second Nuclear Man. Like when he sees the other woman who took over, her dad took over the Daily Planet. When the other Nuclear Man sees her in the newspaper and goes to kidnap her, people's like, why would he just automatically care about her and fall in love with her? That has to do with the other Nuclear Man. He had a thing for her, and when Superman killed him, they took his ashes and mixed it in with the new genetic soup for the new Nuclear Man. So he had the memories of the previous Nuclear Man. So he remembered that girl and liking her previously. So that's why that scene's in there. But again, we didn't know that because they cut shit out. So it's confusing in that movie.
I feel like you're making stuff up.
No.
No. I mean, with how different it is, I'm like,
oh yeah, no, that's real. Oh God, I forgot the video I watched, but there's a video on there. This guy, he does the 10 things you didn't know, and he did one on like all the Superman movies, I think almost.
That's
so
cool.
That's how I learned that. And there's a comic book adaptation of Superman 4 that I'm going to pick up that has that original script for the comic book story that I'm going to pick up. We're going to cover that sometime too.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, thank you so much, Autumn, on that one.
We do appreciate that. That was awesome. We're going to have you back.
I don't know. I don't know. Do we want to do our rankings real quick, or do you want to wait and do that another time, or?
We're getting a little long on this one.
Yeah, we're getting a little long. So we'll do that next episode. We'll do our rankings next episode.
We will have a retort.
Yeah, we will have a retort on that one. Because I need to let that go in my head a few moments and think about where mine
make some notes.
Make some notes.
Okay, so if you want to pick up this book, it runs about $5-10.
I picked up mine. Actually, I got the whole set from eBay, but you can go on mycomicshop.com and find them. As Sean knows, various grading levels and prices and stuff. But yeah, like you said, about $5 or so.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the number 4 issue, which is the introduction of Lex Luthor, is freaking expensive.
Really?
I don't know if it's because it's the first version, or excuse me, the first introduction of this Lex Luthor is why, but number 4 is expensive. Number 3 is the Batman issue, which I would assume would have been higher, but no. Lex Luthor's issue is more expensive for some reason.
Well, with that, our next episode is going to be, I gotta order it, but it's going to be Fantastic Four #1.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you don't know, that's the 90s cartoon.
Well, I've been educated, so thank you. If you want to find us, we're on the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Instagrams. I got an email, geekswithbeardspod. Look us up, send us info if you want to send us an audio submission like Autumn did and like Rick did the last episode. Feel free to send them to our email.
For sure.
geekswithbeardspod@gmail.com. Take it away, Dan.
Well, as Superman says, up, up, and away we go until the next episode of the Geeks with Beards podcast. I'm Dan, and that was Sean. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's
Geeks with Beards. Podcast.